Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lewis. That over there is Tolkien, and you have found the Scripturient Society.
Welcome back, everybody. Don't mind me just pulling my microphone ever closer so I can be closer to all of you, and also because I have a child who's being difficult about taking his bottle. But he says hello. Anyways, that over there is Carissa Harlow, aka Lewis, aka Catherine, and I'm Ash O'Rourke, aka Tolkien. And if you guys are writers, you are in the right place. If you're readers, I argue you might still be in the right place. If you've just stumbled upon this podcast and you usually listen to true crime, maybe we're not, but you
It's a
never know.
sign.
It could be a
It's a
sign. Yeah,
sign.
exactly.
You're meant to be a writer.
Yeah, and you might
So,
even see a cute little baby head pop up from my green screen. So, it's like a little Easter egg.
mhm.
Like when you watch a
Well,
movie you didn't really want to see just because it references things that you do care about.
I don't think I've ever done that. Like what?
Really? Like when one Disney movie like has like a reference to another one, but you don't really care about
Oh,
that movie. Yeah.
yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, Carissa, how has your last 2 weeks been?
They've been good. Let's see what happened. Yesterday I went to the dentist, and my dentist moved locations, and this new location is really nice, and I really like it,
Ooh,
which is kind of strange. So now I
very
really like my
nice.
dentist office. Um, and I had to get like sort of a cavity. It was like a preventative filling
Hmm.
or whatever. I guess you don't
Yeah.
get a cavity.
Yeah.
The dentist doesn't give you a cavity, it gives you a filling. Anyway,
It feels
but
like they do because they drill down and make a hole to pour in the filling. And I'm like, did we just create a problem
yeah, like
just to charge
you
me to
saying there was
solve it?
stuff there before and now it's not there.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was just there for like my normal checkup, and then he's like, you'll have to come back in and just let's just get ahead of that. And I'm like, okay. And then I go out and she's scheduling me. She's like, he's available now. I'm like, cool. I'm already going into work late. I might as well do it now. And we get in
Nice.
there and he's just like talking like normal. And I didn't really, because I've only ever had one other filling. And I
Yeah.
don't think I even got numbed for it because it was just so like simple.
Yeah.
And so he's just, like kind of fiddling around in my mouth and he's like, deep breath. And I'm like, oh dear God, there's going to be a needle. I was not prepared for this. And it didn't hurt at all. I didn't feel
Heck
it at
yeah.
And it's like for a second I was like, oh, I guess it was just something else. I don't know what that was, but baby crying.
Interesting. Yeah,
But then
sorry. I will cut it out.
he like left the room and he's like, we'll give that a chance to take. And I'm
I
like, yep, there
know.
was there was numbing.
So weird.
And then he's like, are you good? I'm like, well, I hope so, because you're about to drill into my mouth and I don't feel any different, but I
Yeah.
can't taste anything anymore. So
Yep.
let's go for it.
Yep.
Um, and then later my jaw was kind of sore. And I was like, that's weird. I wonder why that's happening. And then I was like, oh yeah, the drill that was in
The
my mouth
drill.
like two
Uh-huh.
hours ago. Yep.
Uh-huh.
So I tried to eat my peanut butter sandwich at work and I couldn't taste it. And I tried to drink my Dr. Pepper and I couldn't taste it. So I just took some Advil instead. And
The lunch of champions.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then to stay on food theme, today we had a staff meeting, which was cool. I've only had like one other like official staff meeting at this new place or whatever. So it was
Hmm.
kind of like a look back at 23 and look forward at 24.
Oh, nice.
And we got free breakfast burritos. So that
Heck
was pretty
yeah.
cool.
God, I love that. That's so motivating.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And they sent out the email like 5 minutes before it started too. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's food. So we like ran over to get some and it was great.
Nice.
Uh, I'll talk about it later, but I finished the draft of the book I was working on too. So it's been a good 2 weeks for me.
It sounds like it. My
Yeah.
first reaction to that was going to be you suck, but that's not the proper reaction. The reaction should be congratulations.
Yeah.
And I will just try and curb my jealousy.
It's okay. You have a child. So
I do. I do
it's
have a child.
sometimes I'm jealous of that. So we can tie
Yeah,
on that.
that's okay. Yeah, we can share. Just hopefully by osmosis your talent will rub off on me and you can come snuggle him whenever you want to. I believe you
That's
said
right.
you were planning to come see me sometime in the spring. Guess
I
what,
did.
Carissa? It's almost spring.
It is almost
Spring has
spring.
almost sprung.
I know. Oh my gosh. I do plan to come at some point. I just need to figure out my vacation days and because I have my cousin's wedding in May and I'm trying to figure
That's
out like
right.
how much time do I have to take off for that So it might be a little later, it might be a little earlier. We'll see how my vacation time works out. But it's so
We'll
weird right
be
now
here.
because I know. Um, like J halfway through January to most of the way through May, there are no holidays. It's
I
just dead
know.
space.
Yeah.
And it's weird for me because I've always worked at like a part-time or a school. So those months are like, like, oh, well, we have summer coming up, so it's okay. Or we have rodeo in February
Yeah.
and you have like spring break and stuff, and I'm not gonna get that now. And so I'm like, man, this just feels like a dead zone. But it's been going by pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't take, I like to butt up vacation time against existing holidays or at least
Yeah.
weekends. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, there's nothing until Memorial Day.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird.
So,
That's so true.
yep. So we need a holiday in like March.
I
I don't
agree.
know.
My birthday.
That's right. That should be
It
a
could
national
become a
holiday.
national holiday. Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Exactly. Right, Riley?
Agree.
Yeah.
You
I'm gonna take that
disappeared
as
from
a
the green
yes.
screen when he started talking. That was kind of funny.
Did you really, Riley? He's all smiley and happy now. He
Hmm.
has to know that the bottle he has access, even though he's kind of just snacking and not really hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Anything else you want to share?
I think that was it. But it's been a good 2 weeks. So, how was your 2 weeks?
Been good. God, what's happened in the last 2 weeks? Hormones are crazy. I have a new idea for a podcast that I want to start,
Oh,
but it's gonna be like a lot more free form as far as the schedule. Like I'm just gonna prep a
hmm,
bunch of episodes in advance. So
cool.
that's exciting. So I've done like a little bit of prep for that. Oh, excuse you, sir. And I have entered more writing competitions.
Yeah.
So I have not,
Nice.
I will just go ahead and spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler because it's me we're talking about. I've not made any progress with my book, but I have
Hmm.
written. I have written and edited, and I have submitted to like I don't know, like 6 writing contests or something. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'm having
Cool.
a good time. I've already been rejected by one, so oh
Fun.
well. Another one was like what they say? They they're publishing basically everyone who enters.
Hmm.
But you're not like the winner or whatever. So I was like, and so I had to like really read the fine print to be like, am I okay with this? And then I had to be like, do I care about this story? And I was like, I'm okay with it, and I don't care about this story. So I was like, whatever, I
Take it.
guess. Yeah, just take it, and then I'll just like stop. At least it'll be off my mind. I'll stop submitting it
Hmm.
everywhere.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah. So that's well, that was my writing update, but it was a big part of my life. Oh, and it's planting season. So
Oh.
I'm always like 2 weeks late. I start the whole planting process. And this is a problem because I'm supposed to start some of my seeds indoors so that I have transplants to put in the ground like starting next week. I
Right.
have not started my transplants, so I have nothing to put in the ground besides my direct seeds, but that's not like a lot of my garden. I need the transplants. And I don't have my garden beds ready because Javi wants to build them. He's insisting upon it, which is going to be awesome. And I'm also like, TikTok, we are already
It is planting
well,
season.
it is
Hello.
planting season now. But I think, bless you. Are you done? Oh, bless you, sir. Now are you better? Okay, cool. Sneezes like his father. The allergy season is also underway. It's going to be really fun because he's going to be
Hmm.
spending so much time outside with me. I have a little like covered baby
Aw.
pen, and he's just going to
Yay.
be sweaty and just hanging out. It's about to get hot in
Cool.
Texas. If it sounds a little noisier on my end, also, it's because there's fans and AC on like in every room because it is already got so hot. Like it was cold this
Oh,
morning,
wow.
but it's warm outside now. So inside it's like even hotter. So we're all a little warm. I just put clothes on the baby for the sake of the podcast, but he's been just hanging out in his diaper and trying to pull everything off of me, like this cord. I know you can't have it though. You don't need it. You're a baby.
It's not for
Um,
you.
it's not for you, but I have a bottle for you. And he whacks it aggressively out of his mouth.
I want the cord.
Yep. Anyways, so yeah, so planting season, which is exciting, and I found like a new website. If anyone out there is a gardener in any sense of the word or a farmer, but I know that there's not as many, um, there is a website called Seed Time. It is amazing, and for free, you can make an account and you can basically put in whatever crop it is you want to grow or flower, and you put in your zip code, and it will automatically populate the average frost time and average growing recommendations for that plant for your area for
Hmm.
whatever season you select. So it's very exciting. There's like way more details than that. So it's very cool because that can be kind of the hardest part sometimes. figuring out like
Nice.
exactly when I can plant different things in this area because it's just so hot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But
Cool.
wow, your mug is so pretty back there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the Scripturient Society mug for anyone who
Yeah.
can't see
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have what do you call it?
Not name drop.
Yeah, kind of name drop. I should have
Plugged?
advertised. Yes, plugged. I should have plugged it. Guys, if you guys go to the scripturientsociety.com, you too can get some really cool merch.
Not that. You can
Um,
get this.
yeah, just like that. It's so pretty. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else exciting. I don't think so. My house is an absolute wreck because remember how one of my New Year's resolutions was to accept the mess? I
Hmm.
have
Yeah,
mostly.
yay.
I
You've
mean, I've mostly accepted it.
made progress.
In practice, I've accepted it. In spirit,
Good.
I am
It's
only
killing
okay
you.
with it like a third of the time,
Hmm.
which is huge progress from none of the time. But still, two-thirds of the time, I'm like, I want to burn the house down. It is
Oh no.
horrible.
Are you guys
So
still like building a house or is that on pause? Oh, okay.
we are, but the problem is because we're doing out of pocket, we have to get like this
Hmm.
first big chunk together first, which we're, somewhat close to, but now we have to get my car fixed. So it just feels like it always pushes it off a little bit further.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to have the new house livable, up and somewhat livable by the end of the year, which might be a
Ah,
lofty goal. But by livable, I do simply mean like has doors and windows. And
right.
we will just live inside it on a mattress. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my goal. And has a kitchen would be ideal.
Oh, probably a
Um,
bathroom.
a
Yeah.
bathroom. Yeah, like a kitchen, a bathroom, and all unfinished is fine. Just, no holes in the floor for my child to fall into. Because I assume he'll start to crawl at some point. You should start to crawl at some point this year. He's like, or mom could just carry me everywhere.
It sounds like a lot of work and you're already
Sounds like,
carrying me, so
yeah.
like
He's like, I think I'm just gonna go straight to walking anyways. So
yeah, that's what I did.
yeah,
Mom
a
talks
lot of
about
babies
it.
do that.
Hmm.
It's terrifying. I don't know why. To me, it seems so unnatural. I'm like, no, you must crawl for everybody goes through this. It is a natural part of life, which reminds me of what I was going to say about planting season. You know how they do like harvest festivals? Like a lot of cultures have like celebrations around the harvest. I
Yeah.
think it's time, and there might be cultures that do this, I'm sure there are, but I want to have a celebration around planting.
Hmm.
Because there's not like you said, there's not a ton to celebrate this season. And it
That's
always
right.
does go by really fast, but I think especially because we're doing the raised beds and they're going to be mostly prepped before the planting, it's actually going to be like more of like a fun endeavor than it's usually just like grueling work.
Hmm.
So it should be a little bit like more fun. And so I think I'm just going to invite people over, like my family and stuff, and be like, "Hey, do you want to help with the planting?" And then we can have like hot dogs or something or fajitas and yeah, just to celebrate the growing season.
Yeah.
So
That is cool. I
that's
like
my
that.
plan. I've not come up with a name for my holiday, but
Mm. Planting
I
day.
will.
I don't
Planting day. See, but it sounds so lame.
Simple.
That's what I thought
Yeah.
originally. I was like, it's a planting celebration. And I'm like, it's giving like Earth Day vibes, which is like
Yeah.
not exactly what I'm going for. No one's like,
Right.
party up, Earth Day. But like a harvest festival, like that has a certain like
Yeah.
aura to it.
It's
Uh
true.
alas, alas, I do not. I only people who've breastfed out there will understand this, but like for some reason right now, my child just slapped me in the chest. He's still doing it, and my milk just like let down, like painfully heavily on both
Oh
sides.
no.
Like it's like the child must be hungry. And I'm like, he literally has a bottle. Thanks. He's
You
not.
have been replaced. Thank you.
Yeah. You don't need to do that. Meanwhile, he's over here just whack, whack. No, he's whacking his leg. He's discovered his legs like last week, and this week he's discovered his arms. So we are
Nice.
just very into just hitting everything,
Nice.
which he doesn't know, but I
Ah.
know. Yeah, what? Here, may I offer you a bottle again? He's like, I can sense it. I can sense that there's milkies available. Anyways. Do you see this like hand that is just
Yeah.
wandering in the middle of a meeting? I thought I was being so sly because he was being really chill, but he wanted to be held. So I had him on my lap, like out of sight of the camera during a meeting. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the meeting, this wandering baby hand just makes its way up onto my face. And I was like, well, they know now. Thanks. Nice work. Now they all know.
I don't know. I have a child
Like
and I'm
bullying
holding
back and
him.
forth. they know that I
Yeah.
work from home with a baby, but there's also this sort of
Yeah.
expectation, like keep baby out of all meetings. And I'm like, I'm doing my best, but he's 4 months old and he doesn't understand rules. So
Yeah. We're
it's
working
fine.
on it, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, right now we're still just like slapping mom in the chest when we want milkies. So we're a
Mm.
little far off. And also when we don't want milkies, we just, do. And then we scream for milkies and we have 2 sips and then we're good. We're happy. So and he's eating an insane amount of like baby rice cereal mixed with baby food and formula, which he's only supposed to have like to help him practice eat because he's not supposed to need anything other than milk right now until he's like 6 months old. But you would think that I am torturing him if we go a day and I don't give him some kind of solid food.
Mm.
So, but he is, enormous. So it probably takes a little bit more to fill up his tummy. He's
Fair
huge,
enough.
baby. We went to the
Sweet.
pediatrician again. Did I talk about this
Yeah.
last time? I
You
can't
hadn't
remember.
gone yet.
I hadn't gone yet.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, he is officially longer and heavier than his 6-month cousin.
Ooh, good job.
Woohoo!
You're winning,
Yeah.
Riley.
Yeah, actually 7-month cousin now. That's right.
Ah,
Nice work, kid. So it's a
way
bit
to
of a
beat the family.
competition. I know. But only like a little bit heavier, but he is like the 100th percentile and then like way up here is him up above it. Like there's not a number. They
He doesn't
haven't
even
like
make the chart.
no, he doesn't even make the chart, but he is just so long. So every time I go in, she's like, wow, he's still growing. He's still in that percentile, huh? Like he's still getting really
Slow
long.
down.
And he's like, she was like, maybe he'll be a basketball player. I was like, yeah, or a poet, you know?
One of those tall, annoying poets.
Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much been my 2 weeks. There's been some mental breakdowns in there, which is
Mm.
not shocking. Yeah, and now I'm sweating and I'm in that zone where I'm trying to decide, is it time to put away all the fall and winter clothes and take my summer clothes out and put those back into my drawers, or is that going to be, am I being presumptive?
Right.
Am I being presumptuous? Like, is there going to be more winter? Have I not
Yeah.
given winter enough of a chance?
Usually winter likes to fake us out. It'll be like,
Yeah,
here's some heat. And then like 2 weeks later, when you're settled into like the spring vibe, it's like, psych, here's snow or something really bizarre.
exactly. And that has happened every year. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to really wait till I'm sure that spring has sprung to put my like summer clothes out or whatever. But I feel like Mother Nature knows this is my plan. And so she's
Mm.
gonna like just be like,
She'll
that's
plan
right.
for it.
She's planning for it. She's like, spring has started now and there will be no more cold. That's what it feels like is gonna happen. But
Yep.
anyways, that's what my life is at now. Is there anything else that you want to share about your week?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right. Do you want to
Yeah.
go into book recs?
Yeah. I don't have any. Yet
But say,
again.
do you have any? Nice.
Still in the writing zone, so no reading. Did we say this last time? I do read a lot for my job in terms of reports. So I'm reading words
Yeah.
and I'm
Which
learning a
is
lot about grammar,
ain't
but
that the
I
way?
have been reading, so
Yeah. I get that. I don't think I have any book recs either because I'm in like that like one or two thing like phases of the year where I go through where I watch new shows. So I can give
ah,
you guys some show recommendations that are
yeah,
fan freaking tastic. Okay.
go for it.
So if you like kind of gritty but super funny like action comedy, there's a show on Netflix called The Brother's Son, and it's got some of my favorite actors in it, and there's tons of like martial arts, and it's hysterical and funny, and it's like basically this the concept is that this mother and her son have been in hiding from this Taiwanese triad, and because she's actually been she was like a part of it, and so now they're in
Mm,
hiding, and the brother who stayed behind in Taiwan and was like he's like a like this like major like well-known assassin for the triad, he comes to see them because like shit's going down
mm,
over there, and
mhm.
so everything blows up and it's crazy, there's intrigue and espionage and just like
Ooh,
it's awesome. Bless you.
cool.
Bless you.
Bless
Are you
you.
done? Because I'm trying to like give some show recommendations here.
It's very
Okay.
important. How
It's
rude of
extremely
him.
important. And the other show I cannot recommend highly enough, and you probably would love it, is it's called The Resort. Have you seen
Oh,
it?
I
This came out in
haven't.
2022 apparently, but I
Huh.
didn't see it, and it came out, I think it's either on Hulu or Peacock, I don't remember.
Mm.
But it's got the chick who plays the mother in How I Met Your Mother. She's
Oh,
the one of the main
cool.
characters, and then the guy who played oh, what's his name from The Good Place? Eleanor's
Chidi?
yes, Chidi. Yes. I know he's in it too. And
Oh
it
my
is
gosh.
so good. And apparently just got renewed for a second season, which I am like
Ooh.
so thrilled. But they like it's this couple who goes to this resort
Hmm.
in Mexico for their 10th anniversary. And like there's this sort of like these two kids went missing 15 years before, and she finds a cell phone that belonged to one of them. And so now she's like trying to unravel this mystery, and there's like way more to it than you ever think. And then all of a sudden, whoa, it's like, wait, is this magical realism? What's happening?
Ooh.
And then I will say there are like two insane twists that you would not guess.
Ooh.
And it was so good. It was so
Nice.
good. You have to watch it so I can talk about it with you, but
Okay.
amazing.
It depends on
Amazing.
what it's on. I have Hulu, but I don't have Peacock, so I'll have to look.
Let me
But
see. I'll look.
look
But
it up in real
anyways, I don't
time.
have book recommendations because I have show recommendations. Although I think those might be my only new shows because
Everything
yeah,
else
I
is a
think
rewatch.
everything else is a rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Did
is
you ever
a
watch? Oh, go for it.
sorry, just gonna say I believe it is on Hulu that they're coming out with a documentary. There's only one episode out of it now, but it's like a short documentary on Yolanda Saldivar who shot Selena.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so
We watched a movie about that in Spanish class,
really
but I don't remember. I just
interesting.
remember the shooting scene. I think J-Lo played Selena in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It was like based on her life. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I just Selena's like a big name obviously because Texas, but also because my husband's from Corpus where she's from. So like Selena's like basically like a deity. Like I feel like you see like altars and shrines to Selena all over Corpus.
Yeah.
But and I don't usually watch the documentaries that are like from the perspective of the criminal. I'm like,
Mm.
no, you don't get a platform. You did bad crap.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
this was from like a it seemed like less like a trying to shove off accountability and more like trying to like explain the whole picture because certain pieces were left out. And so I was like, okay, I feel like I can
Interesting.
watch this. And so yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been interesting. I'm curious to see the second episode. So
Cool.
there's a little bit for the action, a little bit for the mystery and magical realism, and a little bit for the true crime
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, you were saying?
Well, I was gonna say, did you ever watch Bridgerton?
I did watch some of Bridgerton.
You did? I did not. But my friend, she like threw herself this little like birthday party and it was like Bridgerton themed. So it was like a tea party kind of thing, like high tea. And I was like, I don't know
Oh,
anything about this. So I'm like, I don't know how to dress for this because I haven't seen the show. So I just kind of like wore a dress and I was like,
uh-huh.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. And like, I'm just not
Oh.
really into the Bridgerton vibe or thing. I don't know. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not my thing, but
Yeah.
it was really fun. So I've been asking people if they've seen the show.
Oh, that is fun. I've seen a few episodes of it. I kind of enjoyed it, but kind of like you said, like it's just not really my thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think people think because I love Jane Austen so much that that kind of stuff will appeal to me, and it's more like, no, no, no. My standard is Jane Austen,
Yeah.
so it makes it hard to enjoy other
Yeah.
things.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I see
And I
that.
don't like it when they put like a modern like take on a lot of stuff because I'm like, well, then just make
Yeah.
it modern.
Just make a modern story.
Yeah.
That's my issue. Like I'm just we've talked about this before. I'm so annoyed with the number of remakes and
Mm-hmm.
like let's continue a show from 10 years ago kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's coming out. It's like, do you have no good ideas? I'm sitting over here with like 15 books written and I can't get a book deal, but you can just remake stuff that already exists and get millions of dollars. Something
Yep.
is wrong here.
Yep, it's because they're cowards. They're afraid. They're like, I know for
Oh,
sure that we'll at least get like a certain amount of, views because of
yeah.
this. So, because it's
Yeah.
so well known.
Exception. The second, oh no, what's it called with Tom Cruise and the planes? Top Gun. The second Top Gun was good.
Oh, strong
Aside from
agree.
that,
That was a
everything
very
else
good
is
one.
awful. So
Strong agree.
that
Yeah,
was a
yeah, that's
diamond
a
in the
very good one.
rough.
Some things it makes sense. And
Yeah.
some things it's like, well, it ended super well and it didn't really feel
Yeah.
like there was room for more interesting stories. So,
Hmm. Let's just stop it there. But yeah, that one was good because it was like um Goose's kid. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it would take some time. He has to
yeah.
grow up, so it worked. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they like I don't know what came first, the idea or the desire to make a new movie. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's my spiel about that. I
I
digress.
completely agree with you. Sorry, my sister just called me twice in a row, so I'm like, is everything
Good.
okay? Anyways, so hopefully she says that it is, but yes, I completely agree. Do you have our word of the week?
I do. Crepuscular. Crepuscular.
Crepuscular.
Crepuscular. And it means pertaining to or active during twilight, moving about at dusk or dawn. So like animals are
Crepuscular.
crepuscular. So owls, I think, are crepuscular.
I think I'm
And
crepuscular.
yeah, me too. It's a cool word. It's like the crepuscular time of day when
Yeah.
I think it's just getting dark or just getting light. So,
Interesting. I'm definitely, and this is actually perfect because I've been like, I used to be a major night owl. I used to be such a
mhm.
night person. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm more of a morning person because on the farm around like whenever basically spring and summer, it's too hot to be out there during the day. So I try not to be. So I get up early. So I get used to that. So I'm kind of like a morning person then.
Mhm.
But it's not exactly like I'm like, oh, I just love to be awake in the morning, you
Right.
know? Uh,
It's kind of like that light, like tint to the sky. It's not quite light yet, but it's
yeah.
not dark.
I
It is
like it.
nice.
I
Hmm.
am a crepuscular person. I'm not a morning
Yes.
person or a night person because I
Yeah.
like it when I'm outside and the sky is just lightening up and I'm working in the morning. And also at night when it's just going down, I love to be outside or inside, like doing chores. And I get very busy around that time because as
Yeah.
soon as it's dark, I'm like, well, now it's basically time that I should just get to do whatever I want. And also, which is usually
Yeah,
just
the
go to
day is
sleep.
over.
The day's over. Yeah. And before, in the middle of the day, I have to work and I just want to take a nap. So,
Yeah.
right,
I
Baba?
don't I just don't like the daylight hours as much. I just like that's why I
Yeah.
like it when it's overcast and rainy because I'm like I just like
True.
the not light but not dark vibe.
I wonder if people who like rain are also more likely to be crepuscular people
Yeah.
because I feel the same way.
Hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
That would make
What
sense.
about you, Riley? Are you crepuscular? He's like, I just want to be awake all the time, actually.
I,
What is it?
I
What
just
does that
do what
mean?
mommy does. Yeah.
Yeah, which is be awake all the time because I'd be awake all the time. I tried to explain this to my 4-month-old that he only wants to be awake all the time because mommy's awake all the time because he keeps her awake all the time. That if he would sleep all the time, mommy could sleep too.
It's a
So it's
vicious
kind of a
cycle. If you just
cycle.
go to sleep, you can solve all of it.
Yeah, you could solve all of it, right? He's like, I would rather be the problem, actually.
You are
Thanks.
Ash's child.
Yep. Yeah, you got the drama in you. He's like, I'm so mad that there's a bottle instead of a boob in my mouth, even
Mm,
though I drink bottles all day, every day. I'm just,
life's tough.
he's sitting here like straight up sulking on my lap. He's going, if you guys
That's not what
can't
I
see me,
want.
I am trying to like make like 4 chins out of my face, and he's got a little grumpy eyes going on, and his little shoulders are slouched, and his little shoulders like forward, and his little arms are just flopped down, and he's just so sulky right now,
Oh
as
boy.
much as my very cheerful baby can be. Anyways, do you want to get into our theme of the episode?
Yes. We are going to talk about another trope, the dead parents trope, usually in
Yeah.
young adult or children's books. So,
Yep. Or
yeah.
superhero, any content.
Ah, that's
Always the
right.
superheroes.
Always with the orphans.
Yep. So
Yeah.
sad. And I will say right off the bat, nothing that we say or make fun of in this episode is in any way to take away from if you have lost a parent. That is
Oh, yeah.
obviously horrible and
Mhm.
I cannot imagine. And we are in no way referring to in real life when you lose
Right.
a parent. We're talking about when people do a dead parent or a missing parent as a trope. It's a
Yes.
arguably overused trope in books,
Hmm.
definitely in superhero movies where that doesn't have to be the, basically like childhood wound, but it's a very
Yeah.
popular childhood wound that, writers and storytellers
Hmm.
often choose. So just there's the disclaimer. But
Yeah.
Carissa, how do you feel about this trope?
I actually like this trope. I think it has its uses. I'm interested to see what you say because I do agree with the idea that it's kind of overused, but it's one of those that I think it's overused for a good reason. Like
Hmm.
it does its job, you know?
Yeah,
So I don't
I
know. How do
agree.
you feel about it? Yeah.
I don't hate it. I just
Yeah.
think it needs to be justified, which is why I
Oh,
think when superhero movies, I often feel that it's not justified.
okay.
However, in young adult, I often feel that it is justified because otherwise these young adults would have parents who would be like, you're not going to go do all that crazy stuff. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? You know?
It's
So
definitely
that's
not
why it makes
happening.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense like as a what do you call it? Excuse you, as like a mechanism. Like you kind
Yeah.
of you need something.
Hmm.
So that's why, a parent who's passed away or is missing, it makes a lot of sense for young adult fiction. New adult fiction, I don't think it's necessary. The
Yeah,
characters
they're
are
adults
adults and
basically.
they
They can
can
do what
go
they want
do
anyway.
what they want. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Um, Although I would be interesting to see where, it's a young adult or new adult or whatever, where you're trying to like dodge your parent who's trying to stop you the whole time,
Yeah, that's
because
true.
that's also a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
more people than not have parents. So I understand why we often use the parents are not there trope for young
Hmm.
adult, but it would be interesting to see like the creative ways that writers could achieve the same effect but without using the same trope over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, I don't know, at least most Americans, their parents are still really involved in their lives, like your lives. I mean, if you're in college, your parents are
Yeah.
still kind of in control of
Because
you.
if you have like
And
decent parents, if you
yeah,
don't, you can always pull from that as well and be
right.
like, they have parents, but they're bad parents. Maybe your
Yes.
character has parents, but they're neglectful and they're not involved, so they're not really going to notice anyways.
Well, yeah, and
Rick Riordan kind of did that with Percy Jackson, not with his mom. His
mhm,
mom was great, but his stepdad,
stepdad. Yes.
yeah, his mom went missing and not missing. They knew what happened. She was kidnapped by Hades, and then, yeah, the stepdad didn't do anything. He was awful.
Yep. He gets to
Yeah.
die at the end. It's great. Um, but I do think that's like one of the reasons that writers use it is if you have good parents in the story, the problem becomes like, are you teaching kids to disobey their parents? Which I think
Hmm.
is not something we should do in general.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of writers either go bad parents so that it like makes sense that they're undermining their authority, or they go with no parents so that then it makes sense that these kids are kind of doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Um, so because I do think that we shouldn't undermine parents when we write young adult. And I
Yeah.
think that's
That
potentially
is hard.
damaging to kids. So
I
it's like
agree.
it's a good kind of out, but
It is. And like I said, I don't mind it as much for young adult because there's so much validity to that choice.
mhm,
But new adult, you guys, I mean, we can do better. Superhero
mhm.
anything. First of all, superhero fiction, we've discussed before because I have loved, okay, and I will have to say I love Marvel superheroes. And part of the reason that I love Marvel superheroes is because they don't typically do the as much of the completely tragic, like utter horribly childhood for a backstory for character motivation. Typically, Marvel like tries to make it a little bit like lighter, maybe a little more relatable. DC is all about the dead parents,
That's
and
probably why I like DC.
you just have to be an orphan if you want to be a DC like hero. You have
Yep.
to. It's basically a requirement. So don't even apply if you have parents. Um, but
Darn,
that
stupid
said,
parents.
I know that said, I do enjoy superhero stuff. I have a harder time with superhero books for reasons I think we discussed in an earlier episode on the pod. But I mean, that's another area where I've just seen it so much that I just don't want to see it anymore. You'd be
Yeah.
very hard pressed, I feel like, to find a case where a superhero has lost a parent and I'm like, yeah, that's great. There was no better way to do that. I
Mm.
probably would be like, let's brainstorm. Also,
Well,
I think it's kind of it's I don't want to say it's the lazy thing to do, but it is a little bit because it's so
yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that it's not sometimes the right choice, but it's all about intention. Like I think whenever you pick a trope, you want to make sure that you know why you're using it. And if it's just because that's the way it often is used,
Hmm.
then that's probably not a good enough reason to use it or not the right reason to use it. You want to make sure it really like fits in with your story and your character's like wounds because that's typically a childhood wound.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe a difference, but I don't read or watch a lot of like superhero stuff. So I'm kind of an outsider to that particular genre. But if you take like young adult books versus like superhero movies, I think in young adult books, the idea is usually like we need an avenue for this kid to be making adult decisions. And so we need the parents kind of out of the picture to justify that. Whereas, like you said, in superhero stuff, it tends to be about like, here's my trauma. Like, here's something I've struggled with in life. And the problem with that one is that there are a lot of things that you can struggle with in life. So, like you said, is it just the lazy option? Are there other things we can do to give those characters depth or have them struggle through something?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I will
yeah,
be trying to cut out my child's noise
you're
just now.
good.
If I miss some, I'm sorry. He has the voice of an angel though, so you're welcome. But yeah, he's getting talkative. I know. I'm trying to find you something else to do. I'll put you in your chair. How about that? You want to sit in your chair? I'm gonna put him in his chair. Hang on.
Yeah.
It's literally just right here.
Just be in the background for a second.
Yep. Again, if you guys want to skip over this, you guys can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts, but this will probably be in the video.
Ugh.
There you go. I know. Apparently I squeezed him too hard and he burped. So,
Oh.
isn't that funny?
Oh, babies.
He seems all right now. He's happy.
A little
Hear
squeaky,
him
but
gurgling and squeaking
yeah.
back there. He loves to gurgle.
Oh,
Hi. He's so happy now.
that's all I wanted.
Yeah, that's all that he wanted. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Where were we on
Good. I was just saying that, like, if you're using the trope to give your characters a legitimate avenue to make their own decisions without, like we said, kind of undermining real parents, I think that's one thing. But using it as like the traumatic backstory, there are so many traumatic backstories a character can have. So you don't want to just like lazily rely on it.
yeah. Yep,
So
I
I mean
agree
it does
completely.
work, but it's one of many. So you don't have
Yeah,
to go for that one all the time.
it's true. And I think also the other thing that tends to be just kind of a fallback is like the way that the character reacts to the loss of their parent. It
Hmm.
seems like the characters always kind of have like the same emotional reaction or the same practical,
Yeah.
consequences. And also that's not the case. Maybe a character loses a parent that they didn't like that much to begin with. Maybe it was a bad parent. Maybe they lost a
Hmm.
parent they didn't know that well.
Yeah.
So they have mixed feelings. Like maybe they feel like they should miss them more and they feel bad that they don't, but it's because they didn't know them that well.
Right.
That kind of thing. Or if is it a missing parent and they want to find them, or is it a missing parent they don't want to find, or they don't want to be found for some reason?
Right.
Um, so
This
like
is
there's a
actually Well, I was just gonna say that is kind of like a thing tangential to this trope is like the missing parent. So that's in City of Bones.
Mhm.
Percy Jackson, you brought up. It's in Enola Holmes, if you guys have seen those movies. That's like kind of that the catalyst for that first movie that her mom is missing and she's not sure what happened to her.
Mhm.
And that it's like a good way to get the effect of the trope without the trauma, if that makes
Yep.
sense, so that they don't have to be dealing with straight up grief. They can just be dealing with, like, okay, well, now I have to make decisions on my own. And that's not necessarily fun. Like, that can be traumatic itself, but it's a
Yeah.
different kind of way to make that happen.
I
So,
completely agree. And those characters would hypothetically not have a fear of abandonment because if
mhm,
their parent didn't willingly leave them, you would think that wouldn't maybe be the case. Well, it's happened when they were really young.
mhm,
Which is to say also, I feel like I see a shocking amount of characters whose childhood wound, quote unquote, is a dead or missing parent, and these characters don't have a fear of abandonment or don't have a noticeable
oh,
one. And that's
right.
strange to me because I think human nature, I think the loss of someone important early on often does result in a fear of abandonment, even if it was not in any way that person's choice to not be
Right.
there. So that's I don't know. I just think it's worth the whole trope is just it's super valuable. I do love it when it's done right. I
Mhm.
just think there's a lot of room to like really think more intentionally about how are we using it, why are we using it, and what would be the actual like emotional ramifications of this? Because it definitely
Mhm.
has like practical uses that I love, but I feel like it's mostly just used for those these days. And I
Yeah.
want to see like more depth to it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a thing with most tropes is sometimes writers will use the trope to get that kind of benefit out of it, but then they don't follow through. So like
Yeah.
this is kind of an issue I have with love triangles, right? People will behave
Hmm.
abhorrently in love triangles and then I'm supposed to be on their side later. It's like, no, you can't just take this trope and get the benefit out of it and then expect me to forget that that happened 2 books later or whatever.
Yeah.
So if they do have a parent who died, that really should be something you're willing to weave into the entire book, the entire series, the entire all their relationships with other people, like all their fears, all of their motivations. Like that doesn't have to be the entirety of who they are, but it should be a consistent factor. And you can't just ditch it once it's no longer relevant to what you want the story to be. If you're gonna do it, you have to commit.
Yeah, I agree. I also think what's funny is that we've talked before about like the resurrection trope.
Mhm.
I love the resurrection trope when it's like a dead parent. Like I'm just
Oh
saying.
yeah,
Like even if it's someone that we've never met
hopeful.
before, it's like hopeful. You find out, oh my
Mhm.
God, they're alive. And then you have all this intrigue of, well, why did we think they were dead? did they have any part in this? And you have like the mysterious like practical elements to sort out, and then you also have the like character's reaction to it. Like, are
Yeah.
they feeling like betrayed that their parent was
Hmm.
alive this whole time? Are they concerned? Are they unhappy perhaps? Like, if this was someone that they didn't want in their life, do they even know how to have a relationship with that parent again? Do they want that? Or have they kind of moved on from needing that? So you add this whole other level of potential subplot and this whole other level of like emotional depth to your character if you do that, which is kind of fun. So
Yes.
I guess I don't know that it's done often enough to technically be a trope, but I would like to see the resurrection trope specifically paired with the dead or missing parent trope.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
can't,
fun.
it is. I can't remember if it was Resurrection or not, but in Fable by Adrienne Young, that duology, she does a really good job of making the whole like distant parent thing really useful. Like it really does contribute to Fable's character like through the entire duology. And it's her dad, right? This relationship
Yeah.
with her dad, and her mom's dead. And so it comes up like reasonably often. It's not the only detail about her, but it comes up reasonably often enough that it does feel like that pain uh has like meaning and consistency, and like the trope is there because that's her character, not just because the author was trying to find the easy way out. So I think that's a really good example of how to do
Yeah.
that well. And it is like there's a difference sometimes between the single dead parent versus the dead parents.
Yeah.
Because being an orphan is a little different than having one parent that you feel abandoned by or not as close to or super close to or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, Percy Jackson, again, you've got the whole he's super close to his mom, he loves her.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a dead father, but basically a missing father.
Yeah.
And then he's so like motivated to rescue her because he doesn't want to lose his mother.
Yeah.
Whereas you have like Harry Potter, who like his parents are dead and he knows nothing about his backstory. Everything's a surprise
Hmm.
to him. That's also why sometimes writers use the dead parent trope, because you don't know where you came from. And then you can be like this secret child from these really important people, or you can be like you can have this
Yeah.
entire magical history that you don't know about.
Yep.
Um, and that's just a different kind of motivation, right? Because Harry wants to get to know them as opposed to feeling like he needs to save them or get them back in some way.
Yeah.
So it's just it like there are all those different kind of versions you can do of it.
I agree.
So
And I think you can also kind of like do the thing where you flip it on its head again and you say, well, maybe I'm going to block out the sound of my child battling in the background. Uh, where you say, maybe instead of having like both parents dead or one parent missing, maybe I want one parent dead and both parents missing. Like Lemony Snicket, both parents were missing, correct? Series of Unfortunate Events.
yes.
Yeah, and I felt like
Hmm.
that was I felt like that was kind of unique because one person goes missing, it's like, maybe it was a choice, maybe they abandoned, whatever, you know. Two people go missing, that's a lot more
Yeah,
mysterious than just the one. So
it's
that's
true.
interesting.
Well,
One parent dead is also kind of like then the kid has to also navigate a new type of relationship with the parent that's still there, which may be positive or
right.
negative, but is definitely complicated.
Yeah. You can have step parents in that situation, which becomes a whole other issue too.
Yep.
Um, you can have the lack of a step parent, which
Yeah.
can be its own
Oh, the
issue. So,
No Beauties, No Monsters by Tara Gojan that I'm
mm,
almost finished reading does a great example of this. There's I believe, a dead father and there's a new stepfather in the picture.
mm,
And done so well where it's not even like a primary element of the story. Like it's not a focal
yeah,
point, but it's there in the background and it just feels so realistic. It adds this whole other like
yeah,
level of realism and depth, it feels like, to her world.
mhm, yeah. And yeah, I think that I guess I've sort of touched on this, but having I my parents are both still alive, thank goodness. But it just because you lose your parents doesn't mean that's the only thing about you, right? So it's not going to
Yeah.
be the entirety of your motivation. It's not going to be the entirety of who you are. So you do want to kind of keep it somewhat in the background, especially if it was a long time ago, right? That's just going to be kind of something that leads to you fearing abandonment or having this kind of fear of people you love dying or whatever. It's not necessarily going to
Yeah.
be like you're thinking about it every second of the day in like a lot of depth. Just going to
Yeah.
be kind of like a background detail of who you are.
Yep.
So you don't want to bring it so front and center that it becomes like annoying, like you're harping on it, unless
Yeah.
it's
You
very
want to just look
recent.
at like the tiny like
But
ripples that would affect your day
mhm,
to day. How would your day to day be different in tiny little ways, you know, not like
yes,
a like a Bruce Wayne sort of like brooding over this every day for the rest of
Yeah.
my life type thing.
Exactly. And I guess people deal with it differently. Some kids probably get over it, not get over it, but move
Move
through
forward.
it a little easier than
Yeah.
others. Yeah. So that's going to say something about that character too. And you have to make sure that that fits with who they are and all of the other decisions they make. If they're the kind of person that got through that and, have like a positive attitude now and they think fondly back on their parents, they're not going to react completely differently to someone else's death or to someone else's betrayal or whatever. They're going to have that same kind of attitude. So you want to carry that throughout. But then if they're like they never fully got over their parents' death, maybe they are the kind of person who holds a grudge or the kind of person that, has breakdowns and doesn't get over things very easily. So you want to
Yeah.
carry that throughout the, again, book series, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, Riley, you made me lose my train of thought. I had another good point to
Oh
add to
no.
this.
All your fault, Riley.
Seriously, dude. He's fussing, but he's smiling, which is the
Like, I'm
worst.
ruining your podcast. Woohoo.
He goes like he's like trying to like force it out, like trying to like force a cry out. Hi, you think you're so cute, don't you? Because you are.
He's right.
He's right. He is cute. He can do whatever he wants forever. It's fine. Do you hear this? It's like he's trying to cry, but he's not actually upset.
Yeah. It's like, can I make myself cry?
Yeah.
Can I be an actor?
Can I be an actor? I heard mommy did theater. He is like working himself up to actually being upset though. So let me one sec. Let me grab him.
Okay.
This is a new part of podcasting with a baby. I am making a note. So again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, but at least you get to see more of the cute baby, Pros and cons.
And the books. Just this nice green screen bookshelf.
It's true. It's so true. And you get to see our faces, which is like probably the biggest win of all. Okay. Oh, you'd think it was the end of the world.
Oh, poor
He
thing.
goes,
I just want to be held.
I know, my giant. I mean, is this not the size of a 9-month-old? He's 4 months old. So that's
He's so big.
I know. He's got 1-year-old hands too. They're just huge. Anyways, this is not to continue talking about my son, although he is adorable. What was I gonna say?
What was I saying?
Oh,
I
the
said,
estranged parent. That's what I was gonna say. Sorry. I was gonna also
good.
say the estranged parent is a trope that we could use where it kind of has the same effect of like the dead or missing parent, but it's different and it's also something that is perhaps a little more relatable. And you can also go into why are they estranged? There could be so many reasons. Dude, I'm making a point here. I'm making like a really good point, dude.
Hush.
He's like, absolutely not. Hey, you. Shh. Quiet, okay. Okay.
I do think like a general idea with this one is like the more variety your version can bring about, the better it's going to be because then you're not doing it the same way everyone else has done it. So like, estranged parents, there's so many different ways that you can feel about an estranged parent. So you can really go into like the character building there.
Yeah, and there can be so many reasons. Like, was it your choice or partially your choice to be estranged from the parent? Was it the parent's choice?
Yeah.
Was it as just a result of, like living situations or as a result of the other parent? Like, there's so many things. Or is it like something outside of both of your control? Like, is a parent in prison or something? Like, these are real situations for a lot of people. So it's also interesting because you get to kind of dive into the mind of something that maybe more people have experienced than just the full on, like, my parents missing and I don't know where they are.
Yeah, I would assume most people don't go through that.
Yeah, I would assume most people probably know where their parent is, even if they don't have a relationship or don't have the best relationship with them.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just picking stuff out of my hair, like out of my child's hair, like we're little monkeys. You can see his bald spot.
I was gonna say, it's a little bald spot. Is it on like you shaved it, or you just not growing hair there?
It's because he sleeps on his back still, because he's just 4 months old. So he sleeps on his back and he can't sleep on his tummy yet, and he just rubs all the hair off the back of his head. So he's got a very, very like silly giant bald spot. Don't you?
It's cute.
Hey, your Auntie Carissa says it's cute, okay? He's like, I know.
Duh, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
God. He's like, are you sure you guys should have a podcast?
You don't know anything. I can do this better than you.
Oh my God. That reminds me, the other day, this is not on topic, but it is very funny. The other day I saw my friend's kiddo. I think she's like 6 years old now.
Hmm.
She's 5 or 6 now, and she came up to me and she'd never met Riley before. And I was like, this is baby Riley. And she goes, I know a lot. And then she walks away. I was like,
I know a lot.
that is some excellent energy. Like, I'm
Oh
here for
my
that.
gosh. Going places.
I know. I was like, that's some fantastic confidence. I know a lot. And also, like, barely looked at him, was like, could not be less interested in him. And I was like, okay, all right.
I've seen a baby before. What's new?
I was like, this is how everyone probably feels, honestly. They're like, yeah, we've seen him and moving on. Yeah, I heard you had a kid. Okay.
All right, what else?
Yeah. It's okay. Hey, it's okay. Plenty of people think that you're very cute. Plenty of people think that you're very, very cute.
Like,
No,
well,
we just keep
yeah.
appearing and disappearing in the green
Yeah.
screen. This is a problem too, is he likes to be like squished up like face to face. So I can't do this during meetings.
Uh,
I probably shouldn't do it while
no.
recording, but here I am.
He looks very comfortable.
Right? He is comfortable. This is what
Mm.
he likes. He likes to be squished. And if like I try to put him to sleep and I put my head to his, for some reason, he falls asleep so much faster.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
he's tanner than me. How did that happen? You've never seen the sunlight. You're definitely tanner than your Auntie Carissa, though.
Well, that's not hard. So,
No, it's not. Anyways, I'll get off of baby talk again. I'm so sorry. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Nothing else comes to mind immediately about the dead or missing parents trope. Do you have
well,
anything
I was
else?
just thinking about like, so one, this is one of the reasons I love Harry Potter, right? So it's you have Harry, right? And he's the orphan and he has like this aunt and uncle. So that's also something that you can take into account is if the parents are dead, who raised this person? Were they on the
Yes.
streets? Did they have a relative? Was it a family friend? Was it, a bunch of other kids off the street or whatever? Um, so he has that kind of relationship with his aunt and uncle, and there's all of those dynamics, and he doesn't know his past and his history and his magic and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of this character forming kind of trait and whatever. Then you also have the Weasleys. And I just love the Weasleys. They're so cool. And you have,
Yeah.
the full family, right? Like no one's missing, at least at the beginning. And
Oh
having
my
those two
God.
together where like Harry kind of comes into their family, but
Yeah.
also like Ron sort of becomes part of Harry's family in that kind of sense. Like they're at a boarding school and his family's not necessarily around, so they have their own
Mhm.
little kind of clique and stuff. I think that's really relatable to basically anyone, especially when you add like Hermione into the mix, because for me, I'm an only child and she was an only child. So Ron's got the big family with the parents. Hermione has her parents and then just her. And then Harry's got like, basically just himself. So I feel like those three dynamics,
Yeah.
having those in the story, basically any kid reading those books could say, hey, that's me. Like, that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's kind of something I know about. And then you also got to see the other dynamics and
Yeah.
like the positives and negatives of those other dynamics. Like, I think Ron and Harry have this fight in book 7 where, Harry's like, we have to do this. And Ron's like, you don't understand. Like, I have a family that's going to get punished if
Yeah.
I help you with this. Like, this isn't as simple as good and evil. But then Harry's like, well, at least you have people. And so, like, there are all those cool
Yeah.
dynamics. So I think maybe, like, obviously you have to have a main character. But if you mix up the dynamics of other characters in the book and have like different kind of parental situations there, I think it can prevent it from seeming like you are, again, undermining any kind of real parents if it's like a children's book or whatever, and also make it relatable to basically anyone who's going to be reading it. I mean, it's not going to be perfectly relatable because no one
Yeah.
has exactly the same situation, but you can see the dynamic and say, yeah, that's familiar. This is new. That's so interesting. I never thought of that. So
Yeah.
I just think Harry Potter is a really good example of how to do
I
parents in
agree.
general.
That made me think of the Raven Boys, because the Raven
Mm,
Boys they're sort of a main character. It's sort of like Blue and Gansey are the main characters, but they're all
yeah.
like they spend a good deal of time in each of them, which I also
Hmm.
love. But the characters all have such different parental situations. You have dead
Hmm.
parents, you have sort of absent missing parents, you have parents you don't know what happened, you have one set of abusive slash neglectful parents.
Yep.
And I think that's really interesting because, to your point, most people can relate to at least one or two of these scenarios.
Hmm.
So that's, yeah, I want to see more of that. I did love that about the Raven Boys. It also made it feel more realistic. And same, yeah, like you said, Harry Potter, like those are really good
Hmm.
examples. And I think that also, even if you have characters who are not as front and center as like the Harry Potter trio, you know, or even as the Raven Boys characters, you can have background characters who have, you know, the dead or missing parent trope that
Mhm.
adds more depth to their characters. So if you've ever gotten the note, hey, your background characters or your supporting characters need more detail or need to be more realistic, maybe this is a trope that can be applied to that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's actually a good idea too, because like it would be interesting to see the side character or the best friend or like the love interest. Like they're the one that has the dead parents. So like
Yeah.
that's, you know, the person that's free to kind of do whatever they want. And then you can compare that to the main character who might be held back by their parents or encouraged by their parents in ways the others aren't. And so you can kind of get that same, like, you can use the trope, but it doesn't have to be
Be for the
as
main
constant a
character.
factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the head of the person that's dealing with that
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
Anything
I
else
mean,
that you have on this?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I do like it. I think it's useful. I Yeah, just to reiterate, like don't use it just because you don't know how else to give your character trauma. But
No.
it is it does have its uses, like especially the orphan thing. I mean, I think the single dead parent is also good because some then you can have a parent that maybe just doesn't know how to care enough or doesn't have the time to notice what that kid is doing. So you
Yeah.
get kind of that halfway uh like there's
Yeah.
someone here to love you and raise you, but also they're not going to notice that you're going off doing all this magical stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I like it both ways, and I think it can be a good trope as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and carrying it through all the way.
Yeah. I agree. I did just think of there are other ways. If you're trying to create distance from the main character and their parents for practical plot reasons, there's also other ways you can do it that don't really have to do with the parents at all. You could just maybe they're at a boarding school. I think
Mm,
that's why the boarding school trope is so popular because it just
yes.
automatically you have that distance. Maybe they're on summer vacation or something, you know? Maybe
Hmm.
they're visiting a family member somewhere else, or you know, like there's other ways to create the distance, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with your summation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's all I have.
Oh, sweet. Same. It's kind of a shorter discussion, but I feel like it was like just more condensed with like good takeaways. At least I felt like I was more
Yeah.
on topic for myself than usual.
Yeah.
Especially considering I have a child screaming at me. I mean, not
Yeah. It
screaming,
keeps
but
you on point.
he does. I should point out, bless you. Bless you.
Aw,
His little sounds
I'm
he
sneezing
makes.
again.
Yeah, sometimes he goes, achoo, I'm just like so angry that he had to sneeze again. It is so
Oh
funny. He's done that since he was a newborn too.
my
I
gosh.
know. However, I do want to point out this is about as fussy as he gets.
Mm.
So I know
Oh,
he seems
that's
like
very
he's
good.
fussy, but he's a pretty easy baby. He just likes to fuss when I can't have my full attention. Um, anyways, yeah, I don't think I have anything else on that. So want to get into in more detail writing updates?
Sure. I mean, let's see what should I say? I mean, I finished the draft and I'm very excited about it. Um, it's a sequel, so I can't query it, which sucks, but I could query the first one.
Yeah.
So that might be something I start to work on. I'm
Heck
also thinking
yeah.
about writing a different book now, so we'll
Oh my
see.
God.
I have this half hour at lunch at work that I just don't use. So, like, I have to use it. So, I have nothing else to do. So, I'm like, I guess I should just write a book in my
Yeah.
lunch hour. Um,
I love that.
but
I
yeah.
feel like
Mhm.
I need that mandatory like
Yeah.
30 minutes a day where I'm not allowed to like work. I
Yep.
have to do something else. I feel like that would be
And it's kind of helpful.
so helpful.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's so like the one I just finished, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's dark, but it's a little more like tragic than I
Dead
usually
parents.
write. No. Well,
Oh.
yes, but not. It's a sequel, so that's really more of an issue in the first one. But you know what?
Ah.
I do carry it through all the way. You know what? I did an excellent job of that. Good job, me. Um,
You're
I
like, wait a
can't
minute. I
explain.
am perfect.
Actually, I'm really good at this. I can't explain it to you, and you don't know for sure that I know what I'm talking about, but I
I
definitely did
believe you.
carry it out. Um, it's kind of a main issue, but not the entire issue. Man, this is really on topic. Good for you. You came up with this topic. So
What do you
that
want to
was
talk about? I was
interesting.
like, death.
And Catherine was like,
No.
yes.
Yeah. No, I literally looked through the list that you made and was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a good one. I have thoughts on that one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So really
Steph
all
is
comes
so
back to your
versatile.
genius again. I mean,
There you go.
somehow we always come back
Um,
to this point.
but so I'm very excited about that one. And also, this isn't really a writing update, but this is just something I'll share. I bought, okay, so you know the book sweatshirt I got you with all the titles of the
Yes,
books
I
on
wear
it?
it all the time.
I know, it's so cool. I got myself a couple of them with my own book titles
A
on
couple
it.
of them. Oh my God, I want to
Yes.
see these. You
I'm
need to
very
post these on
excited.
Instagram.
I should. But I so I was like typing because they're custom, right? So you type in the
Yeah.
titles and I'm like, these are not real books yet. So it's I wonder if the seller like looks them up to like check the spelling and it's just like that's not an actual book. It's just me and my computer that
That's
knows about it.
amazing.
But I'm very excited and they're supposed to get in the mail like I need from today to a week from today is when they're supposed to arrive. So I don't know for sure. But
Heck
I'm very
yeah.
excited about it and I'm probably just gonna wear them all the time. And I planned so I got two sweatshirts and then I got a t-shirt because I was planning ahead. I'm like, they probably won't get here like, for the winter
Oh
months.
yeah.
So I need something to wear in the summer.
Yep.
So I put the title of this book I just finished on there in preparation, thinking
Yeah.
I would finish it, and then I did. So now it's like complete, and I'm very excited about it.
Nice.
So
Wow. Wow. You're like, yeah, I bet I'll finish it. I'll just put it on this thing that I'm gonna wear.
yeah,
I would, if I did that, I feel like I wouldn't finish it in the manner that, like, in the time that I wanted to. So I'd look at the sweatshirt and be like, I can't wear you yet.
this is a lie.
And then I would just feel depressed that I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't even wear this without lying. And
Oh,
I
I
refuse to
know.
lie.
It took a like the shipping time was longer because again it's custom.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'll probably finish it like around the time the sweatshirt comes, and I finished it early.
Yeah.
So I'm really bad at gauging how long it takes me to finish stuff, especially because like I only get to write for maybe an hour or two a day during the week, like
Yeah.
cumulatively. But then weekends, if I don't have anything to do, I'm like, sweet, like 10 hours straight. And sometimes I finish and sometimes I get writer's block, so it's just up in the air.
Yeah.
But this weekend was a good weekend and I finished, so
Awesome.
excited.
Per usual, I need to make more time to write. It's a little bit difficult. And I can't
I
make any
wonder
excuses
why.
that I haven't made before. I've got a child and a farm,
Mm,
that's, but
I mean, it makes sense.
these are just facts of my life. These are
Yeah.
explanations, but they're not excuses. And I said I was going to set aside time, and I tried to once a week where I was going to have my husband watch the baby. But the
Mm.
week that I tried to start it was a week where he was gone. And so I
And then you
couldn't do
gave
it.
up.
And so yeah, I was like, dang it. I was ready to get in the habit, but then I couldn't. And then so now I just like was like, maybe I have other priorities. No, I have to, and I have done writing competitions. Okay, so I
That's right.
have set aside. It's just that it takes a lot less time. It feels like to make
Mhm.
progress because I can write a short story in like an hour. So it just
Right.
feels like so much faster progress. And it is good, as we've said before, like all writing it's good. It's all going towards your 10,000 hours or whatever.
Yep.
Um, I just it's just hard for me to like write long form content if I don't have more than like if I don't have at least 2 hours. Like
Yep.
just 1 hour is not enough time. I feel like I've just gotten like a few sentences down because I've just gotten in the groove and
Hmm.
then my hour's up. So it's just a little hard to find 2 hours these days. But I need to, you good, kid? But I need to, I don't know what that sound is. I think he's about to throw up on me or something.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. It's not terribly exciting. I'll let y'all know if I win anything from the
Yeah.
competitions. I did it. I will say there was like a bar to be included in the publications on that one competition. So like I passed the bar. It's just that everyone who like reached like a certain level of quality with their stories is going to be included, I think. So,
Right.
I mean, it's like not really winning, but at least they were like, well, it's not garbage. So,
Yeah. A good halfway kind of
yeah.
encouragement.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also I've actually shockingly been enjoying the whole short stories thing. So I'm kind
Hmm.
of riding that wave while I can because it makes me feel better about not writing my books. And because I've never really enjoyed short stories before.
No, it's
So
kind of like short stories are things you like sprint through. There's
yeah,
just a period in your life where you're like, I'm just gonna write a ton of short stories, and then
yeah,
I may never do it again, and I'm not gonna write anything like novel length while I'm writing the short stories. You just like
yeah.
crank them
Just write
out, and then
short
you're like, what
stories.
happened?
Yeah, it's so weird, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'm
Mhm.
kind of in just like a cranking out short stories phase, which is good. I'm
Yeah,
making it sound like I'm doing less than I am. I legitimately am, doing that, which is good.
yeah.
That reminds me, I want to do one tonight, but I also have to edit this. So we'll
Mm.
see. Not edit the baby. I have to edit the episode. The baby doesn't need editing because he's
This is
perfect.
perfect.
Are you perfect? Look at those chunky cheeks. Yeah, people look at his cheeks and they think he's a chubby baby, but he's actually really
Mm.
skinny. So if you see him in just his diaper, you're like, that's a bobblehead. Because it makes his head look so big. It's okay. It's very cute. You're a very cute bobblehead.
You are.
He's like, but my hands are and feet are also huge. What are you looking for? There. Need something to chew on. I understand.
Take my finger.
He's been chewing really hard too. He'll just all of a sudden chomp like super hard.
Oh no.
And also I've been reading books to my child, so I don't know if that counts, but he
Yeah.
also puts those in his mouth. So,
Huh.
to each their own. He's
He's
absorbing the
consuming.
material.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Yeah.
consuming the stories.
He's consuming the stories. It was a story about Jesus loves me. So
Oh,
I'm like,
good.
yeah, that's right. Just go ahead and consume that. And he's like,
Yeah.
excellent cardboard.
You're like, take in this theme and this message, and he's like, this tastes good.
Yeah, he's like, num nah.
Yeah.
Excellent on my little gums.
Oh gosh.
Okay. It was one of the ones that you got us, actually. Those are
Yay!
the ones
Was
I
it?
read
That
to him
sounds
the
familiar.
most. Yeah, I read those to
Yay!
him the most. And he can, now that he can hold the visible hands, he likes to hold them.
Yay.
Yeah, you do. I do.
I'm just saying I deserve credit for giving him his first box set because I
You
did.
absolutely do. You also gave me
So
my first box set,
I
so,
did. That's right.
yeah.
This will be my thing.
This is your thing. It's an excellent thing to have.
It is.
Um, do you have
Mm.
anything else you want to share about your writing updates?
Um, nope. Just I'm very excited. I don't want to brag. I feel like I'm bragging, but like I'm legitimately finishing books. So
I don't
it's
think it's a
cool.
brag if it's just true. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, you don't want to be
You're
like
not like, and
falsely
everyone else
humble.
sucks,
Yeah, no. I understand other
You're
people
like,
have
I'm
like,
proud of myself, and you should
yeah,
be. That's called having confidence in yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm flying high on. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm really excited. So
I'm very happy for you and
yeah,
jealous, but also
I
happy
know.
for you. And I
I've
feel
been
a
doing
little
that.
better knowing that you've also had a short story phase because I'm like, well, maybe someday
Yes.
I'll get to where Chris is now at a phase if I just write a bunch of
This
novels in a row.
this is just a step. Yeah, then you'll get to the point where you actively can't stop writing books and then you'll have new problems.
Exactly. Perfect. I'm down for that.
I've been
Right?
doing that whole like I have interviews in my head where people ask me like, where did you get the
Oh,
idea for this story and who's your favorite character and all that stuff. And so
oh, that's
that's
so
just been
funny.
something I've been daydreaming.
I
So,
wonder what that means psychologically because I haven't had one of those daydreams in a while, and I
ooh,
used to
interesting.
constantly. I wonder what that
Yeah,
means.
interesting.
Interesting.
Hmm.
It means I've given up hope.
It's
Just kidding.
it just means
Just
you're in your
kidding.
short story phase.
It means I'm
Everything
in my
else goes
short story
away.
phase. I'm preoccupied. I'm a little bit but I have pictured my work being in like an anthology of short stories.
Mm.
So I guess I am. I didn't realize there was a short story phase, but now I feel like maybe this is a thing.
I think
Maybe
there's a
this
short
is
story phase and a poetry phase.
I had my
And
poetry phase, I feel
I
like.
I think they're both necessary, but they are different. They kind of turn you into a weird person for a while, I
Yeah.
think, at least for
That's
me.
where I'm at. Yeah. And
Yeah.
short stories are so like often like the endings are just like so surreal and I kind of
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like it is definitely making me weirder.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
like, what if it just ended with everyone dying?
Yeah.
And then like, what if it just ended with this person being paralyzed in their body forever?
Yeah.
So,
And that's just
yeah.
it.
And you can do it because you're not as attached because you didn't write a whole novel about them. You're like,
Yes,
Psh, I can do whatever I want to you.
exactly. And you can do weird stuff in short stories. Like you
Mhm.
can like experiment with tropes. You can
Yep.
experiment with weird stuff. There's just it's good. It feels like a lot less pressure too, which we've said before. But
Hmm.
if anyone out there is struggling with the pressure, short stories is a great way to it's a great workaround. It feels very low pressure.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm kind of
Bonus
hoping I'm gonna
advice.
like come across a short story idea that I'm gonna be like, I need to expand this into a whole
Mm,
book. Like I'm kind of
yeah,
hoping that that happens. We'll see.
that is fun.
Um, yeah. Well, that I know.
Oh.
Oh, he's like, oh, is that what you've been trying to do? Interesting. Yeah, maybe try
Oh.
harder. Oh God. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are the Scripturient Society. You guys can also email us if you have ideas for these episodes, or if you want to tell us about what you're working on, or tell us that we're completely wrong about short stories of the dead parents trope. You guys can email us at contact@storysirenstudio.com. That's our production company. You can also go to that website, orderthescripturiansociety.com. It'll take you to the same place. If you want to also get some awesome merch like Carissa's got back there. I forgot how like cute that mug is. It really is
It's so
adorable.
good.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I want it. So maybe I
You
need
can
to.
get it on
I
the
too can
Scripturient
get it.
Society website.
Although my husband did just come in and give me a dirty look because he was carrying like 6 packages. It's for planting season, you guys. I promise. At least most of it is. There might be a baby thing. I don't know.
It's
Because
for
he
the
needs things.
Reverse Harvest Festival.
Yes, it's for
The
the
Inverted Harvest Festival.
You
I don't know.
have already coined a better name for it. The Inverted Harvest Festival. I suppose a spring festival would just be like, that's too easy, right?
Yeah, it's you want to have to explain it a little bit to people, but
Yeah,
when they hear it, they're
exactly.
like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, exactly. If you guys
Yeah.
have ideas for what I can call my festival, then please message us on social media. Carissa will see it. I will also see it if you email me. So thank you to the people who do reach out. It is really fun to talk to y'all. If you guys enjoyed this, like I said, please share it with your friends and also leave us a review with some stars if you wouldn't mind, preferably of the 5-star variety, but whoever the wind leads you. And I think that's it. We do have a writing group. It's linked below on the Discord if you want to join and tell us about what you're working on and show us pictures of your pets and all that good stuff. But until next week, keep writing.
And we'll see you on the next page.